Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy IAS, a one-stop destination for all the English medium civil services aspirants. This is Shyam Kaggod here, taking up the Hindu news analysis dated 1st June 2025. And this is the list of total 10 articles that I'll be discussing. The articles are from different areas of the civil services examination, covering both prelims as well as mains, starting from art and culture to ecology and environment to economics. This has been done in order to ensure that the discussion is comprehensive and all your requirements to clear the civil services prelims as well as mains will be addressed. If you like this initiative, do not forget to hit the like button. And if you're yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Before I start the discussion, please do let me know in the chat section that I'm audible as well as visible for all of you. Am I audible and visible for all of you? Please do let me know. Great. Let's start then. So the first article, before that, anybody wants to download the PPT that I'm using in this particular session, all you need to do is simply download the PPT, but after joining my Telegram channel. I keep on announcing this every day. I keep on getting the same comment in every video as well. All you need to do is join the Telegram channel. This is the QR code. And after the session is over, you'll be able to download the PPT. Let me start the discussion. The first article, which has created a lot of discussion in the recent times, again associated with Reserve Bank of India and the policy of Reserve Bank of India, is the new rules which have been announced by RBI. What are the new rules? What are the implications of the new rules? What are the concerns raised by the different stakeholders? Let's understand one by one. Point number one, there are different types of loans which are provided by the banking sector. This should be very clear to you. The banks provide different types of loans. For example, the banks provide loans for, let's say, purchasing a home. The banks provide personal loans. The banks provide corporate loans. The banks provide the loans to households, etc. One type of loan is essentially gold loan. It is essentially a gold loan. What happens in case of gold loan? You pledge the gold, that is, you simply deposit the gold to the bank, and certain percentage of the value of the gold, I repeat, certain percentage of the value of the gold is given by the bank in the form of a loan. Now, what percentage is generally issued? Right? Let's say today I will go to the bank, deposit certain amount of gold. How much of this value of the gold will be given to me in the form of a loan? There is a technical term, remember this, loan to value ratio. Loan to value ratio. In short, this is called as LTV, loan to value ratio. Now, what is this loan to value ratio? According to the recent guidelines, according to the latest guidelines issued by Reserve Bank of India, the loan to value ratio should be 75%. 75% of what? It is essentially the market price of 22 karat gold. 75% of the market price of 22 karat gold. Let me give you a very simple example. Let's say hypothetically, I will deposit 10 grams of gold to the bank today. And let's say this is worth 22 carat or it is having a quality of 22 carat gold. And again, hypothetically, if the market price is 1 lakh rupees, if the market price is 1 lakh rupees, then up to 75% of this value will be given to me in the form of a loan by the bank. In addition to this, remember the bank, because it is giving a loan to you, the bank will also charge rate of interest. The banks will also charge a rate of interest which will be different from one bank to another bank. But important point to make a note here, who will decide the LTV? Who decides what is LTV? The LTV is decided by Reserve Bank of India. LTV is decided by Reserve Bank of India. And periodically, RBI has used the LTV either to increase the LTV ratio or reduce the LTV ratio in order to provide either relief to the borrowers or ensure these kind of loans are controlled. Let me give you one example. During the period of pandemic, the Reserve Bank of India realized that lot of the households require gold loans. And mind you, households will go for pledging of the gold and taking a loan whenever there is a acute emergency. Whenever the households have sufficient amount of money with them, they have other assets with them, they'll try to take a loan or use the cash before utilizing the gold or the jewelry that is present in the household. So during the period of pandemic, it should not be difficult for you to understand, there was a concern at the household level. That is, a lot of jobs are being lost. Households are finding it very difficult to take care of day-to-day activities. That is, purchase and consume the goods and services from the market. That is the precise reason during pandemic, Reserve Bank of India increased the LTV ratio. And what will happen if you increase the LTV ratio? Even if you pledge, let's say, at 75% LTV, today if I pledge 10 grams of gold, assuming market price is 1 lakh, I will get 75,000 rupee loan. If the LTV is increased, let's say from 75% to 90%, I don't have to pledge more amount of gold now. Even if I keep the same amount of gold that is worth 1 lakh rupees, instead of getting 75,000 rupees, I'll get loans worth 90,000 rupees. So in a nutshell, please remember, LTV, whenever it is adjusted, increased, decreased, etc., it will have an impact on borrowings by pledging of the gold. This is an important point. Now, what is the connection of all of this to the current affairs here? What is the connection? In the month of April, Reserve Bank of India came out with certain guidelines. New guidelines were announced by Reserve Bank of India which were applicable to all the regulated entities, regulated entities, which are involved in providing gold loans. It could be banks or it could be even NBFCs. If you are involved in gold loans, these guidelines would be applicable to you. What were the guidelines? Reserve Bank of India found that in the last 1 year, the gold loans which have been issued not only by the banks but also by the NBFCs have suddenly ballooned. They have suddenly increased by a huge percentage. And whenever there is a sudden rise in any kind of a portfolio of loans, it is always a cause of concern for Reserve Bank of India, especially for a loan such as, let's say, gold loans. Because the idea is the borrower is going to pledge the gold and take a loan. What if the regulated entities, let's say the banks or NBFCs, have not correctly assayed the gold? What if the assaying process was faulty? There was some mismanagement. The quality and the quantity of the gold was not correctly entered into the records, etc. The cases have happened in the past. So Reserve Bank of India swung into action, realized that there might be something wrong with these kind of, let's say, gold loans which are increasing very fast. So RBI simply said, let's reform the whole structure. Let's unify the whole process. Let's unify the whole process. What is the uniform guidelines which have been announced which are applicable to these regulated entities? Point number 1, the gold loans can be taken for consumption purposes. The gold loans can be taken for investment purposes. All of you okay with this? I can pledge gold, take a loan, use it to invest in my company. That is investment. I can pledge gold, take a loan and use it to purchase goods and services. That is a consumption purposes. Until recently, there were no strict, let's say, bifurcation or strict entering into records for what purposes the loans are being issued. Now, Reserve Bank of India says, if you are giving a loan for consumption purposes, you will have to define it correctly. You will have to take a note of this or make a note of this in your records. If you are issuing loans for investment purposes, that should be mentioned in your records, so that there is a clear-cut guideline, there is a clear-cut distinction as to what purpose the loan has been issued. That is the first very important guideline. And mind you, These guidelines are not just applicable for the banks, these are also applicable for NBFCs. Second one, whenever there is an assaying process, assaying simply means if I deposit gold with the bank should know what is the quantity of the gold, what is the quality of the gold. Is it 18 karat gold? Is it 22 karat gold, etc.? The bank should know that. The bank essentially will find out all of this. That is called as assaying process. Now, the assaying process has been made uniform. The assaying process has been made uniform. All the regulated entities will have to follow a specific assaying process. And not just this, the LTV, loan to value ratio, now has been mandated at 75%. RBI says everybody has to stick to LTV of 75%. What is the reason? RBI found that some of the regulated entities such as banks are providing LTV of up to 60 to 70%. NBFCs are providing 75 to 80%, etc. And if you're wondering, sir, why? Why NBFCs provide a higher LTV? Very simple logic here. Unlike a bank, NBFCs, non-banking financial companies, do not have multiple sources of income. They do not have multiple sources of collection of funds as well. The amount of access of funds to NBFCs is much, much lesser compared to banks. And NBFCs can collect the funds but at a higher rate of interest compared to banks. And that is a precise reason NBFCs will try to collect money, try to raise money from different sources, try to lend and impose a higher rate of interest in case of non-collateralized loans and try to generate revenues. So argument is there were different LTVs which were applied by different regulated entities. RBI simply says no. Only one LTV, that is 75%, uniformly applicable to everyone. And there is, right, one more regulation as well. That is, if I deposit gold today, RBI now says I will have to provide documentation. What kind of documentation? I will have to provide documents to prove that this gold is owned by me. All of you able to understand this? RBI simply says, if I deposit gold, pledge gold and take a loan, I will have to submit documents to prove that this gold is owned by me. Right, so Reserve Bank of India imposed many other regulations in addition to these regulations. And what is the impact of all of it? Many experts looked at it and said, with these kind of guidelines, now the paperwork that is required, the regulations will increase the amount of documentation. Regulations will increase the amount of paperwork, etc. And when all of this increases, automatically there is a danger that the banks will offer the gold loans. No doubt they will offer because it is a source of income for them. But the rate of interest that they charge might start increasing. And if they don't charge a higher rate of interest, a higher amount of documentation, higher resources for all of this will increase the expenditure for the bank. If expenditure increases, automatically their profitability will start shrinking. So there were concerns raised by many experts. In fact, there was a written letter. A letter was written by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, which was sent to Finance Ministry. The argument that was put forward by the TNCM, that is Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, was that the gold loans are necessary for the low income households. Understand this argument here? The gold loans are essential. These are necessary for low income households. And because the low income households, especially let's say the farming households, those houses which are involved in the agriculture sector, they find it very difficult to get access to other kind of loans. They want to pledge the gold and borrow money. But by these kind of regulations which have been announced by RBI, these regulations will increase, right? Let's say the cost of these borrowings, that is the rate of interest might increase, which might have a negative impact on these kind of small borrowers. Everybody is able to understand? Rich households, they will continue to borrow. Small households, low income households, especially the farming households, might start feeling the burden of this rate of interest, might start feeling the burden of paperwork that is involved, etc. And as such, the data shows that more than 70% of the loans, that is gold loans again, are below the value of 2 lakh rupees, which means these are the low income households, these are farming households, these are poor income or poor households which are borrowing by pledging of the gold. So these guidelines will push these borrowers away from the banking sector. This might hurt the smaller borrowers. So the letter was sent to the finance minister, and finance ministry yesterday in the X, formerly Twitter, has issued various statements asking Reserve Bank of India, or it has stated that it has asked Reserve Bank of India to look into these guidelines, ensure that the smaller borrowers are not affected by these guidelines. And moreover, right, essentially the finance ministry says more time should be provided, sufficient time should be provided for the regulated entities to follow all of these guidelines. That's the reason the time that has been recommended for the implementation is 1st January 2026. So these are certain important points associated with the gold loan. Everybody is okay? Everybody is okay with this? Those who have doubts regarding the concept that I've discussed so far, don't worry. Let me finish up all the topics. At the end of the session, I'll address all of your doubts. Okay, so associated with this, MCQ number 121. Consider the following statements. A higher LTV in gold loans would allow the borrowers to take higher amount of loan with the same value of the gold. Yes, right? Obviously, yes. This will allow the borrowers to take higher value of the loan without depositing more gold loan to the bank or more gold to the bank. Right? So this will allow the borrowers. Yes, the statement is correct. The individual banks in India are allowed to determine their own LTV for gold loans. No, the banks are not allowed to determine the LTV. LTV is allowed, or LTV is determined by Reserve Bank of India only. Right, so first statement is correct. Right option for question number 121 is option A. Let me go to the next article. Will there be a lasting ceasefire in Gaza? Will there be a lasting peace in Gaza? In the last couple of months, and again, nothing new, it has been there in the discussion for multiple months now. There has been a discussion regarding, can there be a lasting peace in Gaza? Can there be a solution to the problem of Gaza? And any kind of a ceasefire that has been announced, will it be long lasting or short lived? Now, what is there in the discussion right now? Listen to me carefully. Earlier, there was a ceasefire plan. There was a ceasefire plan that was supposed to be implemented in 3 phases. It was supposed to be implemented in 3 phases. And ultimately, the objective was, once you implement all of these 3 phases, there will be a long-lasting peace. There would be a solution to the problem of this particular issue. The first phase was implemented between, let's say these two entities or these two parties of the agreement, that is Hamas on one side and the Israeli troops or Israeli government on the other side. Essentially, under the first phase, certain exchanges were conducted. That is, hostages who were held by Hamas were released, and certain prisoners who were held by the Israelis, they were released. And after the first phase, it was supposed to enter into second phase and then to the third phase, which would have provided certain amount of comfort, which would have stopped all of these attacks from both the sides, and moreover provide relief to the people who are suffering because of the conflict. But by the time the first phase was supposed to end, Israel said they want an extension in the first phase. They wanted the first phase to continue beyond that particular time period. The other side, that is the Hamas, did not agree to this. As a result of that, even without completing the first phase, Israel basically restarted the operations. That is, it started attacking certain regions in the Hamas or the Gaza Strip. Now, this has happened. As a result of all of this, what is the outcome? As a result of all of this, what is the outcome? Israel has been continuously, having attacks or making attacks on these particular regions where it says Hamas is present. And one of the objectives of the Israel attacking this way is to entirely eliminate the Hamas, because it is a militant according to the let's say definition, or according to the notification by the USA administration. It's a militancy. So they want to basically end Hamas and ensure there is no problem. The Hamas will not have attacks on the Israeli region. But as a result of this, as usual, as it happens, the common man or the people in this particular region, that is the people who are residing in millions in this Gaza Strip, they are suffering. Thousands of people have died because of these attacks. Thousands of children are suffering. Thousands of the people are suffering because the aid has been stopped. The UN aid, which is supposed to enter into Gaza, which will provide relief to the people living in this region, the aid has been stopped, or there is problem of entering of these particular aid material into the region. So to address this particular problem, and by the way, there is one more thing that is happening. Generally, whenever Israel makes an attack like this, citing they want to eliminate the terrorists, etc., they generally get the support of developed economies, especially USA. They get the support. And that is one of the reasons why they have been belligerent and making these kind of attacks. But what has happened in the recent times, even the developed countries are raising concerns. Right? The developed countries are raising certain concerns regarding the attacks that have been conducted by Israel. Right? For example, the European countries have raised a concern. USA president very recently also has raised a concern regarding the deplorable situation or the hunger-like situation that is existing in the Gaza Strip. And that is a precise reason. That is a precise reason why the special envoy appointed by the USA president, that is Mr. Steve Witkoff, now has proposed a 60-day ceasefire plan. He has proposed a 60-day ceasefire plan. As of now, according to various reportings that has happened, Israel, it is said that Israel has accepted this plan. Israel has accepted this plan. But as of now, there is no clarity regarding what is the opinion of the other side, that is Hamas. Initially, they said they accepted this. Now they are simply saying they are reviewing the document. They want more time. Right? In all of this, there is also certain allegation that Hamas has rejected this plan. They want to continue having a fight with the Israeli forces, etc., etc. But what is this particular plan and what are the concerns associated with the plan? Why even this particular ceasefire plan may not work out, may not basically restore peace in the Gaza Strip? The plan essentially, like I said, is provided for 60 days. During this period, like it happened in the first phase, in the earlier plan, there will be exchanges. Exchange of what? Various hostages which are held by Hamas will be released, and various prisoners who are being held by Israel will be released. And as per various estimates, around 58 hostages are being held by Hamas. Many of them are living, some of them are dead. So I hope you understand, there will be exchanges. There will be exchanges. In addition to this, there will be ceasefire. Ceasefire in the sense, whatever activities, whatever attacks are being conducted by Israeli forces, they'll be stopped. They will be stopped. And once the ceasefire plan will come into force, the aid that has been stopped, the humanitarian aid that is facing issues in terms of access to the Gaza Strip, now the aid will be allowed to move. As of now, the aid is allowed to move. I hope you understand. Certain aid is allowed as of now. But there are certain concerns associated with how, in what way, what authorities are involved in distribution of the aid itself. So the humanitarian aid will be allowed, and most importantly, this particular article also says once the ceasefire plan will come into force, both of the parties will start negotiating for a long-lasting peace. They will start negotiating for a long-lasting peace that will be implemented in this region of Gaza Strip. This is the proposal which has been put forward by Special Envoy appointed by the President of USA, Mr. Steve Witkoff. Now, what is the concern regarding this plan? What is the issue regarding this plan? Many experts have looked at this and said the biggest problem related to this plan is, one, it doesn't say Israel, I hope you understand this, it doesn't say Israel will not violate this plan after 60 days. What will Israel do after 60 days? Will it continue to bomb Gaza Strip? It will basically continue to negotiate even after 60 days. Although the plan says during the 60 days, Israel will hold to ceasefire. It will continue to stop all of its activities. No action will be taken during these 60 days. But after 60 days, what is the guarantee? There is no clarity. But more importantly, this plan only talks about negotiations between the two parties. Negotiations regarding what? Negotiations regarding what? A long-lasting peace? Long-lasting peace, there are two variations to this. There are two viewpoints. Israel says Hamas has to be eliminated. Extreme kind of statements are being given. On the other side, right, the argument is there should be two-state policy here. Right, there should be let's say two regions divided like this. So I hope you understand there is no plan in this 60-day ceasefire policy or plan which has been proposed. There is nothing regarding what is the most pressing question. That is the issue of future of Gaza. Right, there is no policy, there is no plan, there is no provision which has been put forward which will provide clarity regarding the future of Gaza. And as long as that is not mentioned in the plan, and as long as Israel will not hold on to the promises like this, there is no way, the experts say, this kind of a ceasefire plan can be implemented. Everybody is okay with the discussion here? Please do let me know. Can I move on to the next article? Somebody says, class kab se shuru ho gaya? Class has started from 10 a.m. as usual. 10 a.m. every day we are here. Either me, Chetan sir, Sarmad sir, Mukesh sir, Abhishek sir, either one of them, we are here every day at 10 a.m. Okay. Next article. There is a report which has been published now, which has come into public, which raises certain alarm, certain concern regarding enrichment of uranium. Enrichment of uranium. Listen to me very carefully. Uranium as a material can be used for civilian purposes, that is, peaceful purposes. It can be used in making scientific innovations. It can be used in healthcare. It can be used in the production of electricity. But at the same point of time, like many other things, uranium can also be used for defense purposes. It can be used for defense purposes. That is to make weapons. That is essentially to make weapons. And listen to me carefully. One material that has been at the center of this discussion between Iran and other countries is the concept of enrichment of uranium. Enrichment of uranium. Now, what has happened? In terms of story, what has happened? Earlier, there was a deal which was signed between USA and Iran, although other parties were there, between USA and Iran, where certain restrictions were imposed and certain conditions were imposed to ensure that Iran will not continue to enrich uranium, which is a weapons grade, which can be used to manufacture, let's say, atomic weapons. And under these conditions, there would be inspections which are conducted by International Atomic Energy Agency, which is an autonomous body which functions under United Nations. The deal was signed in 2015. 2018, understand the importance of this. 2018, the earlier term of the current president, Mr. Donald Trump, he is the president of USA right now. He was also the president of USA earlier between 2016 to 2020. So in the year 2018, the president of USA announced that the USA would be withdrawing from this agreement that it has signed with Iran. Unilaterally, it was announced that they are going to withdraw from this particular plan. Reason that was cited was it is not a good plan, right? Iran is taking advantage of us, right? The world is laughing at us, etc., etc. So different arguments were provided to basically withdraw from this agreement. And after this, now there is a new report which has been published, which raises concern regarding the enrichment process of uranium being conducted in Iran. Like I said, whenever you want to use uranium for peaceful processes, you don't have to go for higher level of enrichment. And I hope some of you understand this. Whenever you use the term uranium enrichment, what does it actually mean? Uranium has two components, right? There are two isotopes, uranium 235, uranium 238. Whenever you get the uranium 238 is having very, very high concentration. It has very high concentration. Now, uranium 235 is the material that you require to make atomic weapons. So, what you keep on doing through different processes, you will keep on ensuring that the component, that is a uranium 235, will keep on increasing in the whole material. That particular process is called as a uranium enrichment process. And what the International Atomic Energy Agency has warned now is that uranium, that is the uranium enrichment process, has been continuously being done by Iran. The total amount of uranium which is being enriched in Iran right now is more than 9,240 kgs. I hope you understand. More than 9,240 kgs. They are enriching this. And within this, the amount of uranium which has been enriched to the extent of 60% enrichment, it has been done in more than 400 kgs worth of uranium. More than 200 kgs, more than 400 kgs worth of uranium has been enriched to more than 60%. And the worry is that if they continue to enrich it, right, you will get very good grade uranium using which you can make atomic weapons. Is the argument clear to everyone here? If they continue to enrich it, very soon they will have a huge amount of material using which they can make multiple atomic bombs. That is a concern which has been raised by International Atomic Energy Agency. And while all of this is happening, on the other side, Iran is negotiating with USA now. Understand the complexity in this region. Iran is negotiating with USA. Right? The same president or the same person who was the president earlier, who withdrew USA, now is negotiating with Iran to form an agreement, to sign an agreement. This is the concern which many of the experts have flagged. You are negotiating with USA on one side, and on the other side, you are continuously enriching uranium. If this continues, right, there might be grave consequences. In fact, I've taken this article from Indian Express. Which says the European members or European Union countries can cite this particular article itself, can cite this report of IAEA and reimpose the sanctions. Earlier, there were certain sanctions imposed by the United Nations on Iran. These sanctions were stopped. Now, these particular sanctions can be reimposed, right? Can be reimposed on Iran, which will have again a crippling effect on the whole economy of Iran, because investments will be thwarted, right? The amount of, right, let's say the assets that they hold outside Iran might be frozen. The movement of certain people outside Iran can be restricted, right? The accessibility to multiple materials can be stopped, etc. So multiple sanctions can be imposed again by European member countries. Right, so these are certain important points associated with the report which has been published. Be very careful. Now, associated with this, I've given an MCQ. MCQ 122. Consider the following statements. Enrichment of uranium means increasing the concentration of uranium 238 to use it in making weapons. The statement is incorrect. Remember, slightly entering into S&T now. Remember, it is not U238. It's an isotope. Agreed. It's also used for other purposes. It is uranium 235. You need to increase the concentration of uranium-235. So first statement is incorrect. The International Atomic Energy Agency is an autonomous international organization within the United Nations system. Yes, the statement is true. This is a factual statement. Yes, it is true. So second statement is correct. Right option for the question will be option B, A only. Bhagyashri Angdi says option A. Right? Okay, again A. No, my dear, it is option B. Option B is the right one, not option A. Next article. The government of USA announces new tariffs. As usual, right? A new tariff have been announced. Now, when I say new tariffs here, listen to me. Not on new commodities, same commodities. What are the important points? Let's go one by one. Focus now. The government of USA back in the year 2018 already had announced a certain amount of tariffs. On steel and aluminium. S&A here is a steel and aluminium. Then the administration was changed. Right? Administration was changed. And the new administration, right, basically negotiated with India and different tariffs were imposed. Now, in the year 2025, the new administration, which is headed by Mr. Donald Trump, again came out with a certain set of tariffs. Certain amount of tariffs were announced. They were announced on Liberation Day. And right later, because of various pressures from different quarters, right, 90 days pause was imposed on it. And during this particular time period, India is negotiating with USA. That is, the bilateral trade agreement negotiations is taking place. At the same point of time, now the president of USA has announced on steel and aluminium, the amount of tariffs would be increased by another 25% to how much? 50%. Simple. The president now has announced in a rally and then again on Truth Social, he has announced that amount of tariffs on steel and aluminium would be increased to 50%. Now, what is the impact of this? Understand that. What is the impact of it? Impact is very simple. Point number one, India has a good amount of trade with USA. And out of this particular trade, last year, around $5 billion worth of trade was essentially in the form of steel and aluminium. Around 5 billion. I'm rounding off the number. With this amount of tariff announced by USA, now there is a concern that the steel and aluminium exports from India will become very costly when they enter into the USA market. And the demand for these kind of commodities or these kind of goods will take a hit. Exports will be affected. This is the first very important impact. Second important impact is we are already negotiating a trade agreement with the USA. Correct, we are negotiating a bilateral trade agreement with USA. With these kind of tariffs being announced by USA, now the trade negotiations will become much more difficult. It will create one more layer of complexity in the trade agreement negotiations. In fact, many experts have asked Government of India to approach USA administration and just see if we can get exemption. I hope you understand. Just ask, right, the government of USA, administration of USA, because they have given this exemption to another trading partner, can they extend this kind of exemption which will protect our exports even to India? Right, so these are certain very important points which are being discussed in this article. But let me go beyond this. Already what is happening under World Trade Organization, WTO? Already what is happening under WTO? India has earlier submitted a documentation in the dispute settlement body stating that, or that is under WTO, and has stated that India reserves the right to impose a retaliatory tariff. Is everybody okay? Right? Do let me know. India has submitted a document in the WTO which has been opposed by USA. India's argument is India has every right to impose a retaliatory tariff. Retaliatory tariff means what? A trading partner has imposed a tariff taxes on India's exports which are unfair in nature, which are not allowed, etc. Now government of India will basically tell WTO, if they do not change their policy, I will retaliate against it. And what will I do? They are exporting certain goods and services to me, that is into India. I will target these goods and services, impose a tariff, and collect the taxes in the same amount which are being collected by USA. This has been proposed, this documentation has been submitted by government of India in USA. I'm sorry, in WTO. So there is to and fro that is happening in the global market. Be aware of all the concepts which are associated with these kind of protectionist policies. Done? Let me go forward to the next article. Before I go forward, somebody said, Navya says, but sir, option is how many? Okay, let me correct it. My mistake then. Which of the, my mistake, okay, which of the above statement is or are correct? Now it will be, right, option B. I'll correct it here also, right, if this is not there. Okay, which of the, I'm not like UPSC. I'll correct it. Don't worry. I'll correct it immediately. Much more important. Okay. So I've corrected, unlike UPSC, I've corrected my, right, let's say, issue with the statement. Let me go forward. Asha Rani, without WTO permission, can't we do the same? No, my dear. Whenever you want to have a retaliatory tariffs like this, you will have to submit documentation. It's not that you are waiting for permission. You are submitting, you are giving certain data, you are giving a heads up to USA saying that if you don't change policy, I will retaliate. Okay, next article, UN Conference on Glaciers. UN Conference on Glacier. Now, what are the important points? One or two important points from the whole article, although it was a half a pager. What are the important points? One, have a look at this. There is a United Nations conference, UN member country conference, which is being held. It is being held, right, in a particular place here. I'll give you the name, don't worry. UN conference is being held, and this UN conference in 2025, remember the United Nations has announced or declared UN as International Year of Glaciers Preservation. Remember this. Please remember this. The UN has declared 2025 as a United Nations right, International Year of Glaciers Preservation. Why is this important? You must have read, come across, or at least seen in certain videos. There is always a concern raised regarding climate change and the impact of climate change on glacier cover. Correct? Ice caps in simple terms. The impact of climate change on glacial coverage. Over a period of time, according to the United Nations, have a look at this, since 1975, the amount of the glacial coverage that we have lost essentially is equivalent to 9,000 billion tons of ice. 9,000 billion tons of ice. That is the amount of glacial cover that we have lost. And what is the impact of it? If the glaciers will start melting, automatically impact will be felt in the sea levels increasing or the sea level rising up. If the sea level rises up, there are multiple regions which are submerged already, low level regions, the submergence will increase. It will have a higher impact on, right, let's say the culture, it will have a higher impact on people, it will have a higher impact on economic activity, etc. That is a precise reason United Nations simply says this year, right, this year essentially will be declared as International Years of Glacial Preservation. Remember, this is a factual information. Please make a note of this. So the topic or the discussion should have been around protection of glaciers. Correct. If the conference is on protection of glaciers, the discussion should have been on, right, reforms. What is happening, right? How can we protect the glaciers, etc., etc. In this conference, right, the representative of Pakistan, that is the head of Pakistan, has spoken about Indus Water Treaty. I hope you understand, right? The communication gap, or in simple terms, the conference is on glaciers, and you are talking about Indus Water Treaty. So the head of Pakistan who was representing spoke about India, right, abandoning or putting in storage or basically putting off the Indus Water Treaty and blamed India for that. And as usual, because they are talking about Indus Water Treaty, right, the India's representative also has spoken about, right, basically saying this is not the right forum. The representative of India simply said this is not the right forum. And moreover, if you want to talk about Indus Water Treaty, it was signed in good faith. The IWT was signed in good faith, assuming that both the parties will implement it and right behave in good faith. Pakistan has not done that, and that is the reason we have put the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. That's it. Right, so these are certain important points associated with the UN International Year of Glacier Preservation and this particular conference. Everybody is okay? Right, so apart from this, nothing else is there. Nothing else is important. It is a 3-day conference which is being attended by more than 2,000 delegates from 80 United Nations members and 70 international organizations. Okay, so these are certain important points. Let me go forward. Factual information now. Let's focus on certain articles which have only factual information. One, Operation Shield. Operation Shield. What is this Operation Shield? Please remember the name of the operation, because a lot of these, right, let's say exercises are being conducted. There are military exercises, there are humanitarian exercises, right? So these kind of names can be asked in the prelims examination as a stand alone question, straightforward, or they can make you, or they can ask you a question of match the following. So yesterday, certain operations were conducted, civil defense exercises. Civil defense exercises were conducted in certain regions of India. For example, in the regions of Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, etc., certain exercises, defense exercises or civil defense exercises were conducted. And the name of this operation is Operation Shield. The exercise has been conducted under the name of Operation Shield. What is the importance of all of this? Even before India retaliated, India hit certain regions in Pakistan. Even before that was conducted, the government of India had made announcement that civil defense exercises will be conducted throughout India. That was announced in multiple regions. In your own locality, in your own city, you must have seen the drills which were conducted by government officials. Now, in these 3 regions, which are right bordering regions, the civil defense exercises have been conducted. Importance is very simple. These kind of drills will help us understand what are our weak areas. In case of emergency, do we have correct preparedness or not? What kind of infrastructure is lagging behind? What kind of coordination we do not have? Do we have interdepartmental coordination? Is it efficient? Is there a need for any kind of, let's say, infrastructure or vehicles, etc., whenever these kind of events or let's say disasters will take place? So this kind of evaluation and analysis can be conducted, and that is where the Operation Shield has been conducted by Government of India yesterday. So remember the name, remember the regions and the objective of it. That's more than sufficient. Now let me go forward. One more article. New age-based film certification process has been notified by Government of India. New age-based film certification. I'm pretty sure all of you know this and you have seen this. You must have observed it whenever you're watching a movie, assuming you're sitting in theater, because a lot of us, including me by the way, when you're watching a movie, let's say in an OTT, you will not wait for right the certificate, then right let's say the notice, then right thanks to these etc. No, we'll keep on hitting next right umpteen times so that the movie will start. But at least when you're sitting in theater, you don't have any option. You'll have to keep on looking either in your in your mobile or in the right let's say screen. You will see a certification or certificate issued by CBFC. Generally, the certificates, right, the ratings which are provided are U, U bar A, right? U bar A and yes, right? Restricted. Most of the times you will see these kind of ratings which are given by CBFC. And the CBFC is empowered, right? The CBFC has the powers to issue these kind of certifications under Cinematograph Act. Remember the name of the act. It has powers under the Cinematograph Act 1952. 1952 to issue these kind of certificates. In addition to this, there are different types of rules. 1983 guidelines, 1991 guidelines, etc. So now Government of India amended the provisions. It has amended. It happened back in 2023 itself. Rather than simply classifying this as a U bar A, rather than simply giving a certificate that is a U bar A, which was allowed, right, basically for children above 12 years and below 12 years with parental guidance. Now Government of India has amended and notified this. Within U bar A, there will be 3 guidelines again. There will be 3 ratings, 3 grades which are provided. One is U bar A 7 plus, U bar A 13 plus, U bar A 16 plus. Right, this, right, let's say new set of guidelines have been issued by or notified by Government of India. Henceforth, CBFC has to provide these kind of ratings according to, right, let's say the movies. The U bar A 7 plus essentially means the content that is suitable for a child aged 7 years and above. If the child is below the age of 7 years, then there will be parental guidance required. U bar A 13 plus, same argument. It is suitable for a child above 13 years. If the child is below 13 years, again parental guidance is required. Then there is U bar A 16 plus, suitable for right, children above the age of 16 years. Below the age of 16 years, there is a parental guidance that is required. So these are the new set of, right, let's say certifications under U bar A, which has been notified by the Union government or the Government of India. I've taken the article from the Indian Express as well as the Hindu. Information is same, just to prove that there was nothing else given in Indian Express today. Okay. Now next article, just factual information. Osaka World Expo. Osaka World Expo, that is essentially World Expo. There is an article which has been published in the Hindu newspaper. Now what is this World Expo? Listen to me carefully. The World Expo is organized by one organization by the name of BIE, Bureau International Days Expositions. Right, BIE. Remember the name, please remember the name. This is conducted once every 5 years. All of this information is given in the table. I've taken the table from the, let's say, the correct website itself. That is the same website of BIE. It is conducted once every 5 years. Now, what is the importance of this? It is a World Expo where these member countries will meet, basically talk to each other, propose certain things, certain reforms, certain policies or measures which can be implemented, right, to address certain issues. For example, members can talk to each other, right, to talk during this summit or let's say World Expo, recommend reforms to implement and let's say basically meet the SDG guidelines, sustainable development guidelines, etc. So this is being held once every 5 years. And remember, or let me ask you this question. This year, the Osaka World Expo is being held in Japan. Okay, remember the name of the country. It is being held in Osaka. That is in the country Japan. My question to all of you, and I want your answer in the chat section. Has India ever held the World Expo? Do let me know in the chat section. Has India ever held the World Expo? If the answer is yes, in what city? But let me give you other points. Is India representing, right, in Osaka World Expo? Yes. Last year itself, the cabinet has approved more than 400 crore rupees. Cabinet has approved more than 400 crore rupees to basically represent India, because they will have to go, right, set up certain infrastructure and represent India. Right. So this is certain important points associated with this. What are the other important points? All of this is given in the table here. Please have a look at it. Okay. Now, next article, just an update here. India is engaging USA in order to put Pak on the grey list. Grey list of what? FATF. Now, what is the importance of this? I'm pretty sure you have heard of this. You have come across this multiple times in the last 1.5 months. Just an update here. The FATF has the 3 plenary sessions. The FATF has 3 plenary sessions. That is, essentially it will meet 3 times in a year. The 3 plenary sessions are one in the month of February, second in the month of June, and the third in the month of October. The Pahalgam attack, right, took place in the month of April. The FATF earlier had classified Pakistan under grey list from 2018 to 2022. After that, it was removed. And please remember this grey list, right? Basically, no action is taken. Under the grey list, it is kind of a warning that is given by FATF to the member country. They will have to meet certain conditions. That is, the FATF imposes certain restrictions. They will have to meet. They will have to come out with certain action plan to ensure terror funding is not done, money laundering is not done, etc. So 2018 to 2022, Pakistan was under the grey list. But the bigger, that is more importance or more the list which has a higher importance in terms of actions, in terms of, let's say, sanctions, etc., it is a blacklist. But anyways, the argument of Government of India is June, there will be a plenary session. FATF plenary session will be held. So we want to basically get the support of these particular countries and put Pakistan back into the grey list of FATF. That is the reason why India's representative is in USA, is holding talks with the USA representative. In addition to all the other talks, one argument is we should put again Pakistan into the grey list of FATF. And so this is just an update. Just make a note of this. Finally, last article, simply factual information. In Assam, there is an archaeological site where they have found that Neolithic habitation site has been unearthed. They have unearthed Neolithic habitation site. In what district, in what region? This can be asked in the prelims examination. Please have a look at this. It has been found in Assam's Dima Hasao district. Assam's Dima Hasao district. In this particular district, a Neolithic site has been found. Earlier also it was there. Now it is there in the newspaper again. It has been found earlier also, there was excavation done, work done. Now it has been conducted, or one more, let's say the finding has been reported from this particular Neolithic site. What are the other Neolithic sites which have been reported in India? I've given the map here. I hope all of you have read history. If not, start reading. You will come across it if you're part of any of the, let's say, the courses. The Neolithic, Paleolithic, etc., or Mesolithic, difference between that, from where it has started, etc., etc. So these are certain regions which are known for Neolithic sites. A map has been given. Please have a look at the map. But more importantly, you will come across all of this information in your course material. Done. So these are certain important points associated with the last article. Now these are the 10 important articles from today's newspaper. If you have any questions, any doubts regarding whatever I've discussed so far, please do let me know. Any doubts or any points or any concerns? Plenary session, my dear, plenary session is nothing but a meeting. I hope you understand. In fact, Dharani has answered it already. Thank you, by the way. So it's nothing but a meeting. When do they meet? They meet 3 times in a year. These are the 3 times. Okay. Any other doubts? Any other question? Any other doubts? Please do let me know. No doubts? Okay then. Thanks a lot. Again, just to reiterate, if you want to download this particular PPT, please join my Telegram channel. After the session is over, this PPT will be uploaded in my Telegram channel. Sir, every day when this session will start, Praveen Kumar, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. every day, 10 a.m. without fail. We are here live on YouTube channel. Okay. What is a protectionist policy? Protectionist policies are generally those kind of policies which are done in order to, basically affect the trade. in order to affect the trade. That is essentially the exports which are happening from your country, you want to promote it. But when somebody else wants to export something into your country, you want to cut it down. You want to reduce the imports that you are receiving. You want to export more, but you want to cut down the imports. Those are generally called as, essentially the protectionist policies. They can be in the form of tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, etc., etc. Harshu, is high LTV good? My dear, it is not a straightforward, let's say, I cannot give you a straightforward answer to that because it depends on the context. During pandemic, when the households were suffering, RBI increased the LTV. Was it not required? Rather than good or bad, was it not required? Yes, it was required. So according to the requirement, RBI keeps on changing the LTV. That is more important. Okay. But if you're a borrower, higher LTV means you can get more value of loans, more value, more amount you can take for the same value of gold you're pledging. That is the argument. What is the reason US is citing to inject a document, reject the document in WTO? My dear, the US simply says whatever policies we are implementing, these are under national security. These are required. The government of USA has the right to impose them. And generally, their argument is India has a very high amount of tariff. India is a tariff king, etc., etc. Okay. Navya Kumari mains practice question. Today I did not see because again, see, there was an article on Gaza. Already so many questions have been given to you on Gaza. That's a reason. Protectionist policy, I've already given it. Right, gold loan, I don't expect a mains based question on a gold loan. Right, apart from that, right, a very, very smaller articles are there. If I feel that there can be a question framed, I will give it to you, don't worry. Sir, from which month to which month the CA questions are UPSC CSC 2025? 15 months? 15 months. I hope you understand. 15 months. 15 months. Okay. 15 months from the month of examination next year. Let's say May. May is the 5th month. So 15 months backwards you come. That will be February, March this year. Sir, don't you think mock drill like practices should be adopted for healthcare sector? My dear, here the focus was on infrastructure that can be dismantled, which can be attacked by the Pakistani forces. For example, there was a mock drill there was a mock drill that was conducted essentially looking at infrastructure which can be attacked by drones. Right? Whenever there's a war, right, this is generally an unwritten convention. That is what the countries follow. You do not attack healthcare facilities. You don't attack healthcare facilities. Okay. Done then. So that's it from my side in today's session. Take care. See you tomorrow again, sharp at 10 a.m. As usual, right? The session after this session, the PPT will be able to download from this particular Telegram channel. That's it from my side. Take care. See you again in the next session.